day 361, sheltered in place. So, where I left off last time was, did anybody call my mother? So, they call my mother, and not really knowing what's going on with me, but knowing that it's now a posterior dislocated shoulder, and that these doctors had never experienced that before, she says that I should come home, and we'll go to a Worcester hospital. So now I get back in the car. I don't know where Tiffany has been this whole time, but she's now driving us back to Frank Davis Resort. Now, I'm in so much pain, and I'm holding my x-rays. And I'm just like, oh yeah, by the way, when I arrived at the hospital and they could not find my pulse because I was in shock, my body was in shock. That's nice. So, we're now back in the station wagon driving back to the resort, and in my mind I'm thinking to myself, everyone's going to be expecting me to be, you know, like in a cast or a sling or something. And of course I'm still out of traction. So, another hour and a half to the place. We get there, and these boys are smoking pot. Cute boys. And, see? Cute boys. Young boys. Well, probably college. So, I get out of the car, and I see like Scott Allen and Michael Bear, and I think Kristen was there too, Bailey, and they're walking towards me, and they're all excited to see me. And then I get out of the car, my arm is still up in the air, and they're like, "What?" And of course, it's the end of the day, and it's now time to get back on the bus and go home to Massachusetts. Another 90 minutes. So we get back on the bus. I get back on the bus. Well, everybody gets back on the bus. And we now ride in the yellow school bus back home. And then when we get there to school, Mr. Diesel goes in. This is all before cell phones, by the way. Mr. Diesel goes in, and they call my mother and say, "We'll be at the school." And she's like, "I'll be there in 10 minutes. Well, frickin' Joanne Francis took a half hour to get to the school. I was so livid and pissed at her. Oh, I still am, actually. But many things, but that in particular one. So now we drive back. We now drive to Worcester. 20 minutes. And what hospital did I go to? I don't remember. But she knew them because she had worked there. Well, she was working there. And the ER doctor was Dr. Curtis. Young doctor, very handsome. And he said, "All right, this is what we're going to do." Oh, by the way, I only had one painkiller shot throughout the whole ordeal, and it didn't take effect. He said, we're gonna relax you, almost sedate you, and then when we're ready, when your body's ready, we're gonna pop the shoulder back in. And so I was sitting in like sitting position of the gurney, stretcher, whatever, and morphine, Valium, and codeine, I think is what they gave me. And 10, 15 minutes go by, and he comes over to me. He goes, all right, you want to try this? And ever so gently, ever so delicately, he just sort of took my arm, kind of rotated it, and it didn't hurt as much as the Three Stooges had done. And then all of a sudden there was like this, a very loud pop, and everyone froze and just stared at me. And I went, ah! And he goes, yeah, good night. And I basically went to sleep for 3 days. Yeah. Day 361, sheltered in place.